Good morning, everybody. This is Mark John, and we are here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, presumably by a guy Lao Tzu, filled with all sorts of enigmatic wisdom and text on how we might live a more reasonable life. When I talk about living a reasonable life, it's always in the context of not asking other things to change for us. You know, and at the core of that, I always am like, well, we want to be who we are. We think we know what's best for us. We don't want people to tell us how to live. Maybe we were coaxed into wanting people to tell us how to live because we're afraid and we don't trust ourselves. But trusting ourselves is the standard. That's where we're at. That's who we were born to be. We were born to be who we are. And so, So because we, hopefully, all of us, want to be who we are, we want to also allow others to be who they are. And that doesn't mean we submit to what they want. Maybe someone thinks that in order to be themselves, they need you to be something specific. But those two things don't have anything to do with one another. You know, there are people out there who are victims to everybody around them, and they want other people to do what they want to do, what they want them to do, right? Like, I want you to be this way for me. Abusers are like that a lot. Narcissists are like that. And we'll get into these places where we'll get into situations where we will have relationships in some way or shape or form with somebody who wants you to change. You are not obliged to do that in any way, shape, or form. You are only you can do what you want, but you're not obliged to, right? You can submit to somebody. They might give you something that you want, right? Sometimes we want attention. And if they give me attention, even if it's bad attention, sometimes that's good, right? Sometimes I that's what I want. I'm attracted to getting this attention. Maybe because this is the kind of attention that I'm familiar with. But eventually, right, it's those little voices in our head, I don't like that I'm doing this. We've talked about that a lot recently, that idea that, I'm starting to wake up to my own consciousness, right? I'm starting to wake up to my own, this, I don't like that I'm doing this, and that doesn't mean that you've been doing something wrong this whole time. Just by being maybe in a relationship or in a job or in a situation that you don't like that you're at now. Maybe a week ago, it was, it seemed more, tenable. It seemed something like could be okay. Maybe this is something that you could live with. I remember, the last major relationship I think I was in, it's a number of years ago now. It was someone that was just getting into recovery and other things like that. And I was like, I love this person and I want to be supportive and I want to be a good partner. But can I withstand these next couple of years of this person going through the growth that they're going to be going through? Because on the other side of it, there's going to be something beautiful. There's going to be something great. But I couldn't. It was only, I think it was only like 9 months in. It was less than a year before I just decided that, I can't do this. That doesn't mean that what I had invested was for naught. Right? I learn things, they learn things, and I'm still someone that they look at as a teacher. And not that I ever wanted to be a teacher, but they still look up to me, is what I'm saying. So it's like I was able to, exit that relationship in a way that we still have a relationship, right? And it was it was fine. Like, there was anger and other things like that. But I felt good about the decisions that I made. I felt good about having that relationship. There's nothing that I regret about it. And I felt fine leaving that relationship when it came time for me to wake up and say, you know what, this isn't tenable anymore. There is a point. There's a point that changes. Like, it's kind of like when you're eating those Oreos. There is a point where it's like, I like that I'm doing this versus that next Oreo. It shifts to, I don't like that I'm doing this anymore. Right? It's like, that's the wonderful thing about that phrase. Like, do you like that you're doing it? Because that can change quickly. That can change overnight. It can change in a moment. I don't like that I'm doing this anymore. Versus, right, I don't like doing it. Well, I still like doing it, right? I still like this person. I still like the love that we share. I just don't like that I have to concede all of this for this person. Like, it can't be good for this person unless I change who I am. And so that is, there's a point where that's okay. There's a point where it's like, okay, I'll allow myself to be molded a little bit for a relationship that I feel is good and healthy. And then there's a point where it's just not healthy anymore. There's a point where it's like, and so whether or not you're in a job that you don't like, there's a point where that happens. Now maybe if that point is 3 weeks after you start a job, every job you do, you don't like, maybe there's a common denominator there. Maybe we need to look at that. But if you're doing what you want to do, and you're happy with what you're doing, go ahead and do it. When you leave your job, it just creates more stress. Maybe you're in a cycle that needs to be addressed. But you can constantly ask yourself, well, what do I think I'm supposed to do? What am I being driven to do? Do I like that I'm doing this? All of those sorts of things help us kind of get through these moments and change, kind of as we grow and as we mature. So I picked a random number and I got 78. We're going to go right back into the Tao now. If you have a number you want to select, please, come on up. Again, like JK says, I don't bite. So, come up. We'll chat a little bit about where you're at and what's going on. And from there we'll pick a number from the Tao and read through that. So what I'm looking at this morning, Marianne's going to join me before I get to 70. I'll put that in my back pocket for now, and we'll talk to Marianne. Hey, Marianne, how's it?
Hey, good morning. So, I'm good. I think.
How's your summer going? Like, you got your class,
Nope, I'm done with that.
You're done with that too.
Yep, I had that week with my parents, and then I've had last 2 weeks with pretty minimal things to do.
Okay, and you sound like you got a cold or something?
No, I just so I like being busy.
I do.
Or I don't know. No, I don't know if I like it, but I do find. So yesterday, I was busy, but it was my fun kind of busy because I literally went from like one conversation to a next. I went up to school.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think so. I woke up today at 4:00, and that just goes through my mind. I mean, I think it's that dopamine you talk about. It's like
what goes through your mind?
That being that busy. I went from like 10:30 in the morning to 9:00 at night, basically, just going different. I went to school for a while, so I talked to the administration, which is always fun. And then I went and visited Darlene, my old coworker, and went to a church thing, and then even like texted with Cecilia back and forth. So, yeah. So so then I had no problem falling asleep, but then I wake up at like 4, and then my mind just like won't stop. So I think I don't know like how to kind of separate or how to calm my mind down from like busy days. So yeah, yesterday was busy. Do you see what I'm saying with that busyness? Or no?
Well, it's like you made really nice connections. It seems. I don't know if you're being, when you say you met with administration and that was always good, is that like? Is it not good, and you're saying it's good because it's like
no,
facetious, or you enjoy that?
Oh no, it's there. I went and met with Paula. I had a little bit of business to do with this camping trip I've got coming up.
Yeah.
And so we did the business part, but then we just talk, and sometimes we'll go to lunch, and then I stopped in to talk to Melissa, literally just to say hi. And that was like, 20 minutes later then. So, then I went back by Paula.
That's beautiful. So here's the stillness and integration thing.
Uh-huh.
See, that's what this is. Like I think that's what this ends up becoming. You have a busy day, and your body is still like giving yourself that space to process without thinking. See, you're so hands-on with your growth as as someone who's educated in a very traditional way. It's very similar to the frustration that you have when you can't communicate with your hands, like with American Sign Language.
Uh-huh.
It's very similar to that. It's the opposite, though, because you've communicated so much and it just comes off really easily. There's still a lot to integrate. There's a lot of information that passed, not only in your mind, but in your heart and in your mitochondria, maybe, right? Like all of these things, like your whole body went through this growth of experience. So there's 12 hours or more of experience that your body has to integrate and that you are maturing through. My guess is you woke up at 4 a.m. What do you want to do at 4 a.m?
Nothing. I lay there and then I fall back to sleep until about 5:50.
Well, right, and so that's absolutely fine. Is 4 o'clock too early to wake up? What's wrong with the 4 o'clock thing?
I think this is where I get stuck in my thinking. I'm like, 4 o'clock, it's too early. I need to be sleeping. So I
right.
Can't
so
get
so
up.
that's a preconceived sort of notion that 4 o'clock is, because what do you got going on today?
I'm going to go visit with that Jill with the turkeys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so that'll be fun and interesting. And that my neighbor, his funeral and visitation is tonight, but I think I'm going to skip the visitation.
Yeah. Well, so waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, okay, you could say it's too early, or you could just get up.
I know, but I can't.
Well, right. So this is where we just sort of like when we're in bed, we can kind of go through that. Oh, I'm up, but I'm not going to get up, and really have that conversation, really kind of take it seriously, because the thing is your mind is active because something is at odds, and you can't just accept this. Like, you're up. Okay. Do I want to get up? And you can say no. All right. Do I want to think about things that I got to do today, or do I want to just go back to sleep or whatever? You can do that very purposefully, rather than just being like, I'm up and I'm not going to get up because it's too early. Because, like, I remember when I was a kid, sometimes I'd be up in the middle of the night. And especially like in winter, I would get up and I would go, and I never peed the bed or anything like that. I mean, I probably did at some point when I was a kid, but not as like a 4 or 5 or 6 year old or whatever. And like when I was that age, like I would get up and I'd be cold and I'd go to the bathroom or something, or I'd get out and I'd sleep in front of the, we had a little like fireplace kind of furnace, that heated the apartment when I was a kid, and I'd sit in front of it. and I'd lay down on the floor and I'd go to sleep. And one time my mom got up and she got upset because she thought I peed the bed, and I was sitting there. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And so that kind of put that sort of quote unquote fear of God in me, that I'm not going to get out of bed until it's okay. And then there are times when I'm sleeping at someone else's house or whatever, and I don't want to get out of bed until I hear them. You know what I mean? And there's all of these sorts of things. But when you're up in your own place and you're like, it's 4, and it's like, what is the I can't? Why can't you get up at 4? Is it just because you're not awake, or what?
No, I think it's just some silly thing in my head that says I can't get up,
Yeah. And there are times when I get up early and I'll just I have plans to do things, but I might just then take a nap later in the day. I mean, there's nothing that's really you're going to go visit somebody and you have something tonight. So there's going to be time in there where you're going to little lull where you can either take a nap or take a coffee, and both of which are fine. And then you can be quiet with yourself. You can maybe sit with a coffee, even, maybe you don't want coffee at 4:00 in the morning or whatever. That's fine. But you can sit, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I just sit on my couch. And then after, just looking out the window for 20 minutes or whatever, I'm feeling tired again. I'm going to go lay down. And it's just being open to the possibility of things being different.
Yeah.
You got a number?
No, I don't.
You do now. 57. Laws are all in the heart.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. Tao governs all things by discarding objectives, never possessing or interfering. All things need only abide the law in their heart. In this way, they are free from desire. That's really what we're talking about. You woke up, and even the no, I can't get up. It's too early, and go to bed. That is a law that also makes you mention it here, which now we have a conversation about it, and that could change the way you think about that, possibly. Mm-hmm. When Tao is ignored, objectives rule the day, right? I have to sleep this many hours. That's your objective. Right? I can't wake up before this hour. That's the objective. Rules are created to make people expend energy to get around them. You're literally expending energy by staying in bed.
It's just doing something. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Intelligence is praised and rewarded while products become more demonic and intrusive. Weapons are paraded, fear spreads, and the hearts of all things close off. As litigation becomes a national focus, politicians and criminals multiply. We can bracket that and put it somewhere else for now. We could probably get into this as well and use it as metaphor and other things like that. But we'll just bracket it and put it to the side. The master needn't engage these traps. She is quiet and people follow their light. She is peaceful and people are compelled to be honest. She does nothing and all things flourish together. Have no desire, and all things will achieve primal existence. You know what I just thought about? At some point, right around 4:00 in the morning, the first bird wakes up. Mm-hmm. And sings. And there's something really beautiful about that. But sometimes, and I've been up late at night, you'll hear a bird sing at 3:00 in the morning and no one sings back, right? It's like the lonely bird. And then it gets quiet again. And it's and I think that's the thing. Oh, I woke up early. Let me just get out of bed and try this. And it's we look to our neighbors and it's our neighbors aren't up. But I can still go about my business. I don't have to announce it. I mean, maybe the bird goes back to sleep, but maybe it just goes about its business, I mean, it can't see, but we do, right? We have lights, birds don't. So they get, at 3:00 in the morning, maybe it's all right, I'm not going to find anything. I'm gonna run into the ground if I try and fly, you know. I don't know how their eyes work, but but they do. They have an extra rod and cone. I don't know if you know this. I think that they can see so much better than we can because they can see colors that we can't. They can see ultraviolet. So
yeah.
I love the eye and the differences there, But did anything here stand out to you? I think that this is especially in the beginning, it's really
Yeah, I do too. I think that's where Dell's just kind of laughing at me, like, just get up. Man.
Just get up, like, and if you're tired, lay down, close your eyes, go to sleep and stuff. But sometimes it's like you're up and you're tossing and you're turning. Like last night, I think I was in bed in the 6 o'clock hour. And I slept until like 9 or 10. And then I was up for a little bit, but then I slept again till 4 and I got up at 4. But when I was going to bed, I was like, I can't do anything else. Like, I'm done today, and I had been tired for a little while, but, like I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to bed. I usually go to bed early, 8 o'clock, but for me to have gone to bed that early, it did take a little coaxing. It did take a little, it's okay to do this. I mean, just a little bit, but it's still that inner conversation of like, are you really going to go to bed at like 6:30?
At 6 o'clock. And if you ever told anyone that, they're like, you went to bed at 6:30,
right.
Or they give you judgment.
Well, I could interpret it. Whatever they do is judgment. I can, but then I also ended up sleeping, like over the duration of 10 hours. I probably slept 9 of those, so I needed it. Right. But when I got up, because my car didn't start yesterday, and so and I was kind of troubleshooting it and stuff, and I checked the battery and things here I am, 4 o'clock, like over the last 2 hours already this morning, I've checked my car, it starts, everything's fine, I can put that aside. I was doing a little bit of something else, but, stuff for the yoga studio and things, but yeah, it's like, if you get up, just get up.
Just get up.
Or not, right? But either way, it doesn't have to be a rule. And I think that's what this is kind of pointing at.
Oh, that's what it goes through my head, is it's a rule. I can't get up until 6.
Until there's some light outside, right? Until that nautical dawn or whatnot, right? Like we have those ideas of like, I can't get up until the sun's up, or I can't get up. Like, it's still dark out. So what? It's dark at night when we're out, right? Like, so all of those sorts of things get in the way, right? But in this, it's like, it just says Tao governs all things by discarding objective. You don't have an objective to stay in bed for so long, and if you have an objective to do that, that's fine. I mean, how many times is it that we're going to travel tomorrow and we got to get up early for the flight, so we don't sleep at all, like on accident, right? Like, we're in bed and our mind is racing. So we could do things tired. We know we can do things tired. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is all the rules that come with all of that.
Right. Okay.
Is there anything else?
No, I mean, there's lots, but my dad went in the hospital yesterday, but I think he's fine. So it was just a lot yesterday, and
yeah.
And I do wonder too. I do this camping trip with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my 3rd year doing it. Every year, my second chaperone isn't able to come. So then I'm like, so is this I'm bringing on to this second chaperone thing somehow, or I'm just unlucky? And
well, if when you say every year, do you mean last year and this year?
And the first year, my son was going to be the chaperone with me, and literally the day before, he canceled.
Okay. And last year?
Last year, I think I had asked someone, but then it pretty much right away went back to a parent, the same person who went the first year with me, so it wasn't as big a deal. This year,
And when you say second chaperone, is that like you and two chaperones, or
me and
one
another
other?
adult? Just
My guess is everything is pointing, like, because when you said that initially, I was like, oh, well, it's just telling you can do it yourself, and to have faith in yourself.
Too.
So that's what initially came out, but I couldn't figure out if second was you, a chaperone, and a second chaperone. But no, this is you doing it by yourself. This is you just saying, this is you, and I would also kind of point to, like, your dad being in the hospital and things like that as the message that you can do this yourself.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought too. I'm like, because there's part of me, and it's like, it's my trip. So
yeah, and nobody's going to be able to support you in the way that you need anyway. This, by you doing it yourself, it's just you and the kids. And the kids need you more than they need the other person, because you're the one that opens them up. You've done this 3 years in a row on your own. Correct?
No, I have to have that second person.
Okay, so this is a third. So who's the second person been?
The first 2 years ended up being a parent, but the kid graduated in May. Mm-hmm. So now I have another one of the other kids' parents. But,
and they're going. They're not pulling out on you.
I hope not. I mean,
but somebody did pull out on you.
Yes. Yeah.
And was this other parent someone that you had asked already, or someone that you had to ask because they pulled out?
Because they pulled out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't done this alone, and you do need a second person, but someone pulls out
every year. Yeah.
Every year, leaving you
to scramble.
Leaving you to scramble, but you take care of it.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't question it. I wouldn't question it too much. I would look at the pulling out as just being like standard. And the person that you end up going with is probably a better option in one way or another. And maybe that's because you have to do more. And maybe it's because the other person, obviously they're not going to show up. So, my car didn't start yesterday. Mm-hmm. And so this is kind of like, I'm going to equate this to your person, like, pulling out. So the day before yesterday, I know that I have the driver's side brake lights and reverse lights are not working on my truck, and I don't know why. And the running lights are, and the blinker is, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, let me poke around, let me unplug some things and look at it, and And I did that, and then the next day my car didn't start. I'm like, okay, well, I just take the motorcycle. And I have to be grateful that I have another way of getting around, because I had to be around places yesterday. Mm-hmm. And then, so I'm really grateful that that's there. And then I come home, and all day I was like, what could it be? That, I couldn't have made a stronger parasitic draw by unplugging and plugging anything in. Did I do anything that I could have caused, the battery to drain? I couldn't think of anything. So then I came home and I I charged the battery and I started it up and it started fine, and I've been testing it. I tested it a couple times last night, and then I tested it this morning, and there's nothing, like the battery is draining slowly, but it's still at like 12.3, and it started this just fine this morning with a strong start. So I was like, all right, whatever. That's just something I had to go through. And it's not something that I'm going to continue to monitor once I decide that it's fixed. You have someone to go with you. Now, you don't have to think about like why people pull out. It's just what happens sometimes. And yes, you have to deal with it. But it's not like you're left in the lurch. You do have someone to go with you. And my guess is that'll go well. Is there anything, or do you have any reservations about this person that is going?
Oh, yeah.
What's that might be it then. What are the reservations?
She's a lot. She's got, they've got a lot going on with the husband is in a facility, and she's just very drama, and she has 2 kids. Well, and she also works at the school. So for that way, it's really good. I don't have to, she's already got the background check and everything. But she's got this, it's like a weird attachment almost to the kids. And I think she leans on them, too much and gives them too much information. And that is really hard on the kids.
Yeah.
So I think she'll be, it will be fine.
Of course.
I think I think it'll be really good for her. And I think the daughter has to come too, because whatever. So, it'll be fine. It'll be great.
Yes. Say less, say yes. You're here. This is, right. I don't want, similarly, right? I don't want to, at some point, because on Friday I'm going to be driving 30 minutes to volunteer with this art show that's happening in this other town, and I have to just sort of roll the dice on my truck, right? I have to be like, okay, well, I have done everything I can to ensure that I'm going to be okay on this trip. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you have ensured everything, all that you can, to make sure that these kids are going to be supported and you're going to be good on this trip. And that's all you can do. And then at some point, you have to take a deep breath and then just say, okay, let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this turns out. And along the way, don't forget that you have tools, like segment intending and other things like that you can lean on, so that you don't have to go in with the expectation of something's going to go wrong.
No, I really try not to do that, because then I think you bring on your own problems.
You do,
so,
yeah.
No,
and you attract it, and this is a person who very well may be, subconsciously looking for someone to expect something to go wrong. And then all of a sudden, they have their, what's it called what's the word that I want to use? They have their grievances, for everything that's going on around them.
Yeah. Well, that's not happening on my trip, because it's a good trip. So
this is a good trip, and everyone's always been, it seems like these trips have always been really helpful and good for everybody involved.
Yes.
So even though this might not be your first choice, this might be the exact thing this person needs to become a first choice.
That's true. And that's what I got to do, keep. And I like her. She's worked. I've worked with her with between her kid and now she works at the school. So
Yeah.
so I know her. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Well, good.
okay, good.
Well, I'm
I feel
glad.
better.
Good luck to your dad as well.
Yeah, thank you. That was a little scary. So.
Yeah, that happens. But again, like these things, like you had someone drop out, you had your dad going to the hospital, your dad's fine, the whole dropout thing is fine. You're being held.
Wow, I'm doing fine, huh?
Yeah, it seems like.
Good deal. Okay, well, thank you.
All right. Absolutely. Love you. Have a good one.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Yeah, 57. Laws are all in the heart. Again, like sometimes when we read these things, you're the boss, so when it came into, the idea of the government aspect of this, right? Intelligence is praised and rewarded while products become more demonic and intrusive. Weapons are paraded, fear spreads, the hearts of all things close off. As litigation becomes a national focus, politicians and criminals multiply. We can bracket that. We can just put that aside. Sometimes when I read a verse, it's like I just want to read 2 lines. Because those are the 2 lines that are most important. When I talk to, for this situation at least, right? when I talk to people, like when I have Marianny on or whatever, and I'll ask the question, what stood out to you? And then maybe that thing that stood out is the only thing that we'll look at, because that thing that stood out is the thing that is most pointed towards what you're dealing with. And there's no right way to do anything. I think a lot of people miss that. It's kind of like we were talking to Marianne about her sleeping. It's like there's no right way to do it. Just like there's no right way to go through the Tao. You can go through the Tao and you can go through it one at a time, like number 1 and then number 2 and then number 3. Or you can just pick a random number. If someone comes on, I know, it was Johnny. It might have been Johnny had done this, like when he came on, he would pick 1 and then the next and then the next and then the next. And there is benefit in doing that. It's not wrong. I like doing the random number. But again, that's not right either. Sometimes I've gone through and I've, focused on going through each one. So in order to do that, I went through one at a time, chronologically or numerically. I'm going to go ahead and look at this 57 once again. And then if someone else wants to come up, please feel free. Once again, this is a little kind of free way of looking at what I do and how I do it. If you guys are interested in connecting with me, you can do so through my website. There are links in my profile that you can do that. You can set up a free 30-minute call with me, or you can just come up here. We can talk for 15 minutes, have a little conversation, and you can get a feel for how I work with people. So laws are on the heart. Tao governs all things by discarding objectives, never possessing or interfering. All things only need to abide the law in their heart. In this way, they are free from desire. If you get frustrated at something, that's not a mistake. You can calm down and figure out how to solve it. But the frustration, especially if it's coming from you and not coming from it's not being engineered. It's not being manufactured. A lot of times we manufacture frustration. And that's often part of what I would consider addiction, right? You manufacture the frustration. Like you could be frustrated at something that you have you don't have any heart in the frustration. It's just, you're frustrated, but maybe you're frustrated at someone from doing something, from saying something, whatever. And all of those things that's fine. You don't have to stop being frustrated, but maybe you can recognize you don't like that you're being frustrated, right? You don't like that you're frustrated at this. And Tao governs all things by discarding objectives. You don't have to not be frustrated. So there's no objective of not being frustrated, but there is awareness that you don't like that you're frustrated. Never possessing or interfering. Tao's never going to tell you how to do things. You're going to have your feelings about those things, and questioning, like Marianne was questioning, well, is this telling me something? Well, yes, all of these things, people bouncing, your experience of your dad going to the hospital, all of those things, yes, are telling you something. But what are your reactions towards them? Like, look at that, because maybe it's all, a red herring, right? It's like, oh, this is telling me something. It's kind of like when I tell people, when I talk to people about the idea of like, yeah, you can go to the beach and every grain of sand can tell you something, but really it's the one that stands out to you the most, that has the most to tell you. Virginia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
What's your buddy's not walking today? What's going on?
No, I'm just on my way to work right now. I hurt my foot, and so I'm wearing a boot, and I was depressed for a little bit, but things are getting better now.
You were depressed for a little bit? Is that what you said?
Yes.
You just throw that in under the bus there. Just like, I was depressed for a little bit, but everything's good.
Yeah, well, it comes and goes.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely.
It does.
And here's when you're depressed, I want to just sort of like understand this a little bit better. Do you know that it's going to go, or when you're depressed, do you think that is always going to be the case?
I don't know. I mean, I go through a lot, and I get really bummed out and stuff, and then I just kind of snap myself out of it. I don't know.
All right.
It's kind of been that way my whole life, actually.
And when you're in the depressive state, it does it always kind of feel like this is the way it always is? Yes. Okay. And then when you're fine, you can look back and kind of have some measured understanding that actually this is a cycle. It's not always the case.
Yes.
Okay, well, so that's clinical depression. Yeah, that's clinical depression. like when you're when you're depressed and you don't think it's going to change. Like that's the definition. Well, that I would put on, like depression, because a lot of people want to throw the word around a bit, but I would say, no, you actually, and that's hard. Like, so my heart goes out to you first off, because that's not an easy space to be.
No, I've had a lot go on. Like I worked for a guy for 10 years who took Social Security and taxes out of my checks, and he never paid it in. And I ended up sending him to prison accidentally because I reported it accidentally. and so
okay, so you didn't send him to prison. He was flirting with that his whole life.
Yes. Yes. That's true.
So it was his actions that sent him to prison. So you're even saying I sent him to prison is you taking these responsibilities of other people. So I think I already can see why you get depressed.
Yeah.
Go on.
And his kids blamed me for it. Like they came up to me and told me that.
Well, of course, they're surrounded by someone who stole from people and was the victim of his own actions. So the perspective that his children have are going to be one of a victim.
Yeah.
And the inability to see or love a person who was hoodwinked by their dad. Right. Like, and this is your security. Like, this is social security, right? Like, these are things like, right. Like, and it's not that he didn't pay it in, right? Like that was supposed to be done. He kept it, right? Like, that's the thing. He and his children benefited from your hard work.
Yes.
And so and you know how we talk about like white privilege and things like that?
Yes.
These children, his children and he, have a privilege that they are unaware of. And if they were to become aware of that privilege, they would see how they wouldn't be able to they wouldn't be able to say like I'm a good person after that. You know?
Yeah.
And so it behooves them, it benefits them to make you the bad guy. Because if you weren't the bad guy, they would have to be.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
You know, so it's okay that they feel that way, but it's also okay that he went to prison. Like, right? It's also okay. like this is just this is just the cards you're dealt because of your actions. I'm sure in his mind for years he was like, I don't like that I'm doing this, but he never paid attention to it.
Right.
You know, and I'm sure there were also for years, you know, little things that maybe you were like, I wonder. And you didn't pay attention to that. And so here we are.
Yes, here we are. Yeah.
I like to, you know, like, it's, you know, sometimes people say, you know, you laugh to keep from crying, but it's like, when you spell it out, it's like, this all makes sense, you know?
Yes. I know sometimes I think, how come I didn't notice, you know? But and that's because, you know, like I come from addiction and all this, it's so easy to like tell yourself your child's not an addict. Your child doesn't have a problem. And it's happening right in front of you. You know? Yeah. But that's because, you know, like, that's because you're not aware. You don't have that awareness. You don't have, and, you know, I've talked about this idea of pre-karmic buffet before. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's, you know, like you have this big plate of things that you don't know what they are, you know, global warming and abuse or, being hoodwinked and all of this kind of stuff. And it's all mixed in with other things. And this is the experience that you're going to live. You know, this is the experience that you're going to step into and try and make sense of. And that's all life is. Yeah.
And so really taking that responsibility of just like, this is my life. Let's invest in it. Let's have a good time far out. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I try not to think about it, but then of course we still live in the same area. So I run into him occasionally and then it brings up all the
Block
feelings
6
again.
where like he's out of prison already.
He only did like 18 months or something, you know, and then I got his daughter in trouble too, because a friend and I were at a community function and she came up to us and took a swing at us and yelled at us that we did that to her dad.
So hold on. How can you see, we're going to have to we have to go back for this because you just said you got her daughter in trouble when she took a swing at you. I don't know that you should be taking on that responsibility.
Yeah, see, that's the problem I have. I take responsibility for everything. And, you know, I don't know. It's hard to let go, I guess.
Okay. I would say, I have a couple of, let's pick a number.
55.
55. That is inner strength and harmony. That's inner strength and harmony. This is well, let's read through this and see what stands up. Okay. One who has inner strength is like a baby boy, unspoiled, flexible, and empty with no judgment. Bees, wild beasts, birds of prey cannot harm him. With no knowledge of the world, his penis can stand erect. He has no shame or question of why. Caught in the manifestation, the myriad scream for a time he hardly notices. His harmony is so aligned, he can also scream forever without ever getting hoarse. He is powered by his harmony, and thus all fear is kept at bay. The master never speaks of possessing anything. Life is the blessing. Those who pursue power and excitement find themselves confused and allow their emotions to guide them. They become exhausted. It is not from Tao, and whatever is not from Tao arrives dead. Did anything stand out to you there?
I don't know.
I can read it again
Okay.
if you'd like.
Yeah, maybe.
And then if something stands out, you can just pause me there.
Okay.
All right. That way we don't have to recall. There's a lot.
Right.
It's hard to, especially like if you're not reading along and stuff like that. It's hard to like hear. I listen to books on tape a lot, so I might be a little more able to do things like that. But one who has inner strength is like a baby boy, unspoiled, flexible, and empty, with no judgment. Bees, wild beasts, birds of prey cannot harm him. With no knowledge of the world, his penis can stand erect. He has no shame or question of why. Caught in the manifestation, the myriad scream for a time. He hardly notices. His harmony is so aligned. He can also scream forever without getting hoarse. He is powered by his harmony, and thus all fear is kept at bay. The master never speaks of possessing anything. Life is the blessing. Those who pursue power and excitement find themselves confused. They allow their emotions to guide them, and they become exhausted. It is not from Tao, and whatever is not from Tao arrives dead.
Okay.
So you didn't stop me.
Well, no. The part about like becoming exhausted, and I mean,
Yeah, right there.
Because it seems like I'm exhausted all the time, you know.
Yeah, and this is, so we're gonna backtrack this to, they allow their emotions to guide them, right? Those who pursue, and it says those who pursue power and excitement find themselves confused. I wouldn't say that you're going out of your way to pursue power and excitement, but there's something about control. And although you don't want to dictate anything, you are trying to, in one way or another, control your surroundings by taking all the responsibility.
I do that, yes.
Right. So by you taking the responsibility, like you, I hope this doesn't touch a nerve, but if you were in an abusive relationship, that would, you probably find it very hard to get out of that.
Yes.
And that's because you have these abusive relationships and you're taking responsibility for them, right?
Right.
You feel responsible for putting this person, for having this person having gone to prison for his actions. You feel responsible to him.
Yes.
And you say when you first introduced that you accidentally did it. So not only are you afraid that you had literally made the decision for this person to go to jail, but you were afraid of being judged for having done that.
Yep.
And so what you just said when you said, I accidentally did this, was you laid the groundwork that don't judge me because I was innocent. And I did this thing. And it's like, actually, you were innocent and didn't do a thing. He did a thing and he was not innocent. That's why he went to prison.
Right.
And my guess is if it was only 18 months, he went to jail, not prison. So there's a distinction between the two.
They said it was prison, but...
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
So it was, yeah.
But I've been told, well, because I had to deal with, the IRS and...
yeah, absolutely.
And all of that. And from what I heard, it was kind of one of those like cushy places like people go that kind of I don't
Yeah,
know.
because it was tax, it probably was prison. It probably was a federal prison.
It was
Yeah.
federal.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So, yeah. And, white collar, like, again, privilege.
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
know what you don't know. So,
Right.
what you're looking at, and so you might want to just look at all the places that you accept responsibility that has nothing to do with you. You were literally the victim here.
Yeah.
And you are framing him as the victim to your accident. What?
That's true. That is true.
Right?
I've never looked at it that way, but yes.
That's the only way you look at it. Like you haven't seen
Yeah.
it. But that's
Yeah.
really like that's a ridiculous way of living your life. And my guess is there are other that's an energetic signature that you're carrying in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to dictate how you interact with the world around you and everything, and the cells in your body as well. If you wanted to come up and say anything or finish up or whatever, that's great. If you wanted to just kind of stay back, that's all right as well. I got JK in line. JK, just want to wrap this up really. So yeah, that's so I would just say that, like looking at it that way, it's ridiculous.
And that makes sense. I mean, I kind of hold on to everything and I don't let it go, and I need to.
Well, right. But there are reasons that you do that, right? So it's not just like, let it go, because if you were to let it go, you wouldn't have anything to ground to, and you'd feel, and that's when, so like your depression and all of these cycles that you're going through, I would expect that they're all connected to this in some way. And
Probably.
this isn't the first time, right? This guy is
Right.
not the first time. You probably, I would go out on a limb and say that you probably hurt somebody that you broke up with at some point, and you feel like you did them wrong. You probably had other experiences as a kid where doing good in school made other people feel bad, and so you felt bad about them. And there are things like this that you probably have experienced well before this guy ever went to jail, and you're sitting here telling me that your accident is the thing, right? Like, cause that is not a logical, or like, that is literally because somebody in your life had told you were responsible for something that had nothing to do with you. And that sort of thing, and the ability to not know how it connects, right? When you don't know how things connect, you start to just assume that you're the wrong one. You're the one that's wrong.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't know the logic of it, and everybody else around you, parents, teachers, all the people that are going to tell you you're wrong. And parents aren't great, like your parents may have very well, made you in trouble. Like my mom had a mentally handicapped sister that her father was embarrassed of, and so beat my mom every time her sister did something wrong. So my mom carries that, and she never wants to be like, when she was in the work field and whatnot, when she was working, she never wanted to be a manager, because she never wanted to be control of other people. However, she would always be telling everybody else what to do, and so, but she never wanted to own that position, because being in that position meant you would be directly responsible, right? Which is what she was when she was a kid. So there are these little things where it's like, she will quote unquote keep herself small to protect herself. And that's a protective thing. It's great to be able to protect yourself, but you got to recognize that you're not protecting yourself from anything.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
yeah. Like you're attracting attack because that's what you're expecting in the world. And you are on your tippy toes all the time, waiting to take on the responsibility or take the blunt of all of that. You're just waiting for it. And so you're looking around for places that you can apologize, places that you can take the responsibility, because that is your frame of reference of how the world works. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. That gives me a different perspective to think about.
Yeah. And I would there's a free 30-minute call on my site. So like you might want to give me a call sometime.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yep. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. I'm going to bring up JK. Hey, JK, how are you doing?
Well, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. Yeah, we had some crazy storms last night. And so there was tornadoes, and it was my friend, she works at the hospital not too far from where I am, and we were getting the alerts, and it was like, take cover now, go back. It's all clear. Take cover now and go back. It was a wild night around here. But I I was listening to you guys, and I always appreciate hearing folks, share their story and come up and be able to express themselves and be open to receiving whatever, you're going to be able to see. And it's it's hard. It's hard sometimes. Well, it's hard sometimes for me to do that, I think, to be just completely open to what me being me is going to reflect back, and so I do appreciate you being here to do that. So.
Yeah, I love what I do. And I don't know, it's just, it's fun. It's fun to be me. And I'm glad that I can talk to people and laugh about the ridiculousness of how they see things sometimes. It's definitely not. Yeah, I never want anyone to walk away feeling ashamed, because this is protective for them. Everybody that has something has a frame of reference. They have that frame of reference because a series of things happened. And again, there's no right way to do things, no right way to raise your kid. So if you raise your kid in a way that, puts them in a position of being a certain way, that's that's not your fault, right? But it, as the kid, it does become your responsibility to deal with the fact that you picked that up, and someone for me, through addiction and all of these things, having to take responsibility for that was, because it's so much easier to be the victim. Mm-hmm. So much easier to be, but for Virginia, she positions herself as the aggressor. That way everybody else is innocent, and it's well, are they? They stole from you. It's just yeah, but, so many people can do that. Just yeah, I know, but it's no. This is, and whatever happens to them happens to them. That's their thing. You're having the experience of watching this, but they're having the experience of living this, and that's the thing, like, and the kid takes a swing at you, like, then they're in trouble. You didn't get them in trouble. They did the action. The action is what got them in trouble, not you. Yeah. And this idea that I don't have to tell on them, like that could go towards so much, like someone is a kid telling you, don't say anything or you'll be in trouble. That's not okay.
Yeah, no, it's not. And the thing is that I get nervous, or I got nervous coming up and sharing something like that, because it feels, it's intense. And
like the circus.
But then, like the circus, but then, you start realizing, and that's listening to all these folks all over time, we're all doing it. We're all putting ourselves down, or being, becoming smaller or not. And now we're growing into who we're meant to be, or who we are inside, or however you want to phrase it. It's semantics at that point, but it's all this growth, but we're all, might not look the same. It's not going to feel the same because we're individuals, but we all have this work to do. And it's all about, realizing how awesome we are. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
That really is amazing. And I've enjoyed that. It's not an easy journey, not by any means, but, it's amazing. It's amazing to come into that and laugh at laugh at some of these things and see the ridiculousness, and then also cry at them, because for you, it's serious too,
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I've laughed, I've cried, I've screamed, I've yelled. And I still do. Like, it's not, it doesn't go away. Like, I do know that I'm awesome, but I couldn't say that 2 years ago, but at the same time, I'm a mess, and that's great too. You know what I mean? So,
you're a completely new mess. that's what makes it. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what makes it fun.
Yeah,
you gotta know.
I don't, but you know what? If you want to read 78, because I don't know what that one is. You mentioned it earlier.
You don't know 78.
Living in a damaged state. Yeah, let's read that one.
Living in a damaged state. Air and water are the softest things we know, causing no damage to those who live within them. And with the tornadoes, like we can, a number of tornadoes went by. I was over helping Tom and Linda's sister, clear out all of the debris that blew out in their yards and stuff. We took a branch off one of the houses and cut it up and everything. So it's a long day. But air and water are the softest things we know, causing no damage to those who live within them, yet both erode the hard and rigid in their path. The soft and flexible will always overcome, while the hard and rigid eventually collapse. Ordinary men are well aware of this, however, they prefer conspicuous outcomes. Thus, they align with rigid hardness. It stands firm for a time, but does not last. Therefore, the Master teaches us that we can live amongst things that damage without being damaged by them.
Yeah, that one I do. You have something that stood out to you?
Well, while I was cleaning up all this debris yesterday, I came across a bird's nest that was on the ground. And I moved it. And when I moved it, there was an egg and a chick that had either been born or just broke out of the shell when it landed on the ground. And it's interesting, because although we can look at that as being sad and stuff like that, it is like the experience of, the mama bird wasn't around. So she had left. The nest was on the ground. And it was just like this, and I think of the egg as being this kind of hard thing, right? It's rigid. And so both of them had cracked. One of them, like there was, I didn't examine the baby bird, but it was still in the shape of an egg, more or less. So it probably just, the egg, and the egg was like I did see half an egg like close by. So if it bounced or whatever, I don't know. But either way, but that's what was coming to mind here. And I always come back to the idea that like air and water, like if you live in air like we do, there's no damage being caused by the air. But, if we're rigid and we stand tall, if there's like if we get a evacuation order and don't move, or don't leave, then that's being rigid, and we'll stand for a time, but it's not going to last. Eventually, it'll catch up with you. Whether that happens in your lifetime or not, it's yet to be seen. But that's the thing. It's just kind of like when you get the warning in your heart or in your gut to leave. Because sometimes, like when the government says, or when your town says, all right, we're going to have an evacuation order, a lot of people say, no, I'm going to stay here with my house. It's like, okay, yeah, that's all fine and good. Are you listening to your heart, gut, or are you listening to your ego that's telling you, I'm not going anywhere because they're telling me to? Like so many people that would like I'm not going to wear a mask because I'm being told to wear a mask. But as soon as, those are the same people that as soon as they don't want to, be seen abusing people as ICE agents, they put masks on. All of a sudden, like they have a reason to put them on. You know what I mean? And so it's like, we make up the arguments that we live in, and that's all about rigidity.
Yeah, it's true. And it's really just, like you said, a shell. It's just trying to, for me, it was, the armor that I wore is just that, I'm a big softie and I didn't want to get hurt. And then it just became about that activity, like just about not getting hurt by all means. And it wasn't about anything that was of substance at that point. For me, I just lived my life for that one thing. Generally speaking, obviously I have another life, but but that in my mind. And so everything revolved, when I look back, everything revolved around that. Be safe, keep your armor on. Don't don't show them how mushy you are. You're stronger than that. And then when it cracks, there's, you have this little baby bird
You're
that
vulnerable.
can't, that's it.
Yeah.
But that's just what it is. And you will die.
Right.
You will
Absolutely.
die the minute that comes off. And how wonderful that is. It really is wonderful. But you just have to get past that mental, And now for me, as I explore that softer side of me, or where, I'm going to go about things, and exploring, connecting with my heart again, and what I want to do, what can I endorse, what do I like? It is scary, at times. But I also know that if I'm open and I can receive, it will be beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe it's uncomfortable. And most of the discomfort is just, getting past that rigidity that has been instilled in me for so long, that I've practiced for decades, It's really just becomes a behavioral thing. And I find myself still doing it, but it's a little different. Like I can laugh a little bit at it. It's not this, it doesn't seem life or death, I'm glad, the baby bird without the mother was going to die regardless, or now that can be food for
Well, yeah, and I
maids
think that
at some
what
point.
this verse really kind of points to at the end, which like we can live amongst things that damage without being damaged by them. It's kind of calls back to problems or no problem, where it's like we know life is not without its problems, so problems turn out to be no problem at all. It's like, well, depending on how you look at it, it's a problem. Right? Mm-hmm. But it's not, because life is not without its problems. We can live amongst things that damage without being damaged by them does kind of come into, like, you might be in this horrible situation, and by making these little steps of awareness, you not only change that situation, but eventually you find yourself in a completely different situation that is more healthy, or that situation has gone, you finally got the strength to walk away from that situation or change that situation to such a degree that you are a new person. And that takes sometimes decades. So even though it doesn't seem that way right away, as you move towards it, it's changing, you're changing. And the situation is, like, you're no longer being, you're no longer telling the story that you're being damaged.
Yeah. It's really awesome. Really beautiful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Love you. Thank you. So yeah, it is so much about the story and the frame of reference that we step into, the frame of reference that we step into every day with, right? Like we can start with Marianne, right? I'm waking up at 4:00. I'm not supposed to wake up at 4:00 because I'm supposed to wake up at 5:00 or 5:30. That's okay, but 4:00 is not okay. But 4:00 is absolutely okay. Why wouldn't it be? I wake up at 4:00. I'm up. But that's what you got. You got this, whatever this happens to be. So we can live in a damaged state, and, we start as the victim, but we quickly become the volunteer, right? We end up being a part of our own abuse. We end up being a part of our own, rigidity. And that takes a toll. And as we add awareness to it, and as we grow, and as we change, life is easy. So, it can become increasingly easier all the time. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This is Martin John, and this is Tao of the Day. Marianne, Virginia, thank you for coming up. I appreciate you coming up and chatting. JK, once again, it's always a pleasure. And yeah, for anybody else, if you guys are interested in what I do, if you're interested in having a conversation with me, check out the links in my profile. You can set up a free 30-minute call with me, talk about how I work with individuals, talk about what this looks like. If you benefit from the work that I do here, please consider supporting me and this show through Venmo. You can find links in my profile for that. Other than that, thank you guys once again, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.